Today we'll be looking at what I think is the biggest issue affecting the Western world, again, and I'll try and keep it as light-hearted as possible. But there's a story in the news today about a teacher in London who's been banned from working with children, who was also investigated by the police and child protection services. So that's a nice happy start to this video. So what did he do? This teacher is a teacher at a primary school, so that's children between 4 and 11 years old. The children involved are 11. And despite this being a non-religious school, the school panders to members of a certain faith group, giving them a prayer room so they don't pray on the playground, and also a washroom so they don't need to wash their feet in any of the other sinks. That being said, these 11-year-old boys decided to wash their feet in the boys' toilets using the sinks used for washing face and hands to wash their feet. And the teacher said to them, Britain is a Christian state and also there is an Islamic school up the road. So possibly a bit blunt and a bit clumsy. But to point out that the UK is a Christian country and to be referred to the fucking police, well, here's my opinion. So this is just an opinion. I'm not stating this as fact, it's mere conjecture. Yet, if I were a betting man, I would bet that it's got nothing to do with the 11-year-old boys, or it has got to do with them, but they're being instructed. Again, this is conjecture. Maybe the parents to these young Muslim lads were saying, well, there's a prayer room and somewhere for you to wash your feet. Ignore that. What you should do is be an irritating little shit and push things as far as possible, so that when the white Christian teacher, I'm assuming he's Christian, pushes back against you, we can scream Islamophobia and play the fucking victims again. And I've been banging on about this for fucking years. And I've had death threats, I've been called far right, a Nazi, a racist, even though Islam isn't a race, it's an ideology, in my opinion, a cult. But here is a clip of an Iranian woman explaining things.
Iranian here with another pro tip for anyone who's not from the Middle East. No one in the Middle East actually blocks intersections to pray in the streets and yell Allahu Akbar. The reason that they do it in your countries is because they're trying to assert their religious dominance over you and claim your country and turn it into Sharia law. Now you know.
She said that, the brown lady said that, I didn't say anything. It was all on her. But in my opinion, fuck me with a prize-winning leak, is she on the money? Because for this one section of society, nothing will ever be enough. And of course, the teacher's identity hasn't been revealed, because if it had been, there's a good chance he'd now be dead. Anyway, that's a rather depressing start to this video. Let's see a beautiful nativity scene, as we're in the festive season, in Brussels, Belgium. So this needs a short explanation. That nativity scene in Belgium, a Christian country, was created by an artist who deliberately didn't give any of the figures in the nativity faces because it would offend, we all know who it would offend. But that concession wasn't enough. You may have noticed that the manger is empty, and that's because Islamists stormed the nativity and cut the head off the figure of the baby Jesus. That's the respect they have for the indigenous community. So, if you show a picture of the Prophet Muhammad, they cut your head off. If you show an image of the Son of God, they'll cut his head off. That's fucking lovely. But at least in the UK, all faith groups are treated exactly the same, and there's no allegation of two-tier policing under Sir Keir Starmer. No, sorry, there are masses of allegations about two-tier policing. For example, every weekend in the UK, these anti-Israeli hate marches take place, often with very few arrests. Earlier in the year, someone used a laser to beam the phrase "from the river to the sea" onto the Queen Elizabeth II Tower, which is often miscalled Big Ben. Big Ben is actually the bell. Also in the summer, groups of Islamists flying Palestinian flags drove around Jewish areas of London screaming, "We're going to rape and murder your daughters," again with no arrests. And every weekend where I live in Stoke-on-Trent, on Saturdays, there is a gazebo set up with followers of the religion of peace, in my opinion, attempting to indoctrinate people into what I see as a 7th century death cult. But at least there's no two-tier policing. Here's a clip from earlier this year.
Religion you're allowed to do anywhere.
No, miss, you're not allowed to sing church songs outside of church grounds, by the way.
You're not allowed to sing church songs outside
of church songs or church
you're not allowed
grounds. That's fine. That's
you're not
fine.
allowed. She just said you're not allowed to sing church songs outside of church.
Outside of church grounds, unless you have unless
That's
you've
a load
been
of rubbish.
authorized by the church to
allowed.
do this kind of song.
It's not saying anything anymore.
Are you saying that you don't care about the Human Rights Act? You're lost?
So that's a PCSO, a Police Community Support Officer. If you're not from the UK, PCSOs are voluntary police officers who aren't paid and have no powers of the actual police. Often it's a stepping stone to get into police training. Also, it's for power-mad bastards with too much time on their hands. But listen to her accent. That's Borat's fucking sister, insisting it's illegal to sing Christian songs outside of a church, which is absolute bollocks. And when confronted, she sticks her tongue out like a fucking toddler. Obviously, no charges were brought. And in my opinion, and this may be controversial, maybe that PCSO, until she understands British law, should maybe fuck off back to Eastern Europe until she knows what she's talking about. But of course, that's a PCSO. She can't be sacked, I'm guessing, because it isn't actually a paid job. But she wasn't an actual police officer. Surely one of those couldn't make the same mistake.
Please. If you give my details, that basically means I don't have my grounds of arrest, which is code G. If you don't give me your name and address, I have grounds to arrest you. Google it, it's code of practice.
I'm being reasonable with you, sir.
Okay.
Before I give my details, I'd just like to ask some questions. Is that okay?
Is it in relation to this? Or is it
Absolutely. That's what I'm... Yeah.
So before we get to the questions, can I just get your details and then we'll go there?
So what I said before is before I give my details, I'd like to ask you some questions because I don't understand what's happening.
Okay. What do you need to understand?
Thank you. So you referred to there being a hate crime, right?
Okay. I only have to tell you the allegation. I don't have to tell you
That's
exactly
fine.
what it is.
There's an allegation of a hate crime.
Of allegation that someone felt alarmed, distressed in a public place.
Public place, okay.
Okay?
So,
in a public place.
Okay, so someone felt the section that's the harassment, alarmed
and distress.
And distress.
Yes.
Okay.
Obviously, I have to go find out the
Thank you.
exact facts
Thank you.
and so on. So you're not giving me an opportunity to do that right now.
No, you keep interrupting when I'm talking. But I allowed you to speak.
You're not.
Yeah. So you finished or can I speak?
You can speak.
Thank you. Yeah, so before I give my details, I just want to understand clearly what's happening. So, sir, so you're saying that someone from the member of the public has called you saying that they have received harassment, alarm and distress because of a hate crime. Is that what you're saying?
What are you trying to say? Are you trying to quote them in exact words?
Huh?
Are you trying to quote them in exact
I'm
words?
just understanding what's happening.
Okay, let me clarify.
Thank you.
Let me clarify.
Thank you.
I have not met the victim.
Okay. Okay, you've not met them.
Like I said, I've spoken to someone on the phone.
Okay, that's fine.
I don't have to disclose my investigation.
I never said you did. I never said you did.
I don't have to disclose the full...
A Muslim police officer attempting to arrest a Christian preacher because the preacher refuses to give his details because some Muslims are offended by hearing a Christian preacher in a Christian country. What the fuck is going on? And to any followers of the religion of peace who are offended at hearing Christian doctrine in a Christian country, here's a suggestion. Why not fuck off to one of the 53 Muslim countries on the face of God's earth? Because not all of them are shitholes. To me, this is akin to a militant vegan going into a butcher's shop and then calling the police because they're offended by the meat on display. I wanted this video to be festive and happy. It's December, I've got a beard, I'm a bit overweight, I should at least be fucking jolly. Yet every day in the UK, there's another story showing that not only indigenous Christian Brits, but also Jews, Hindus, Sikhs, Jehovah's Witnesses, whatever, well, you're all second-class citizens when compared to, in my opinion, this fucking death cult. This is another depressing video. Tomorrow, I'll post something much more happy. Anyway, that's the end of this video. If you enjoyed it, please do like and subscribe if you haven't already. If you can leave a like, a comment, or share the video, that really helps the algorithm. If you'd like to support me in making these videos, there's a link in the description to buy me a coffee. Fucked it up at the last minute. And as ever, thanks for watching. Looks like an earthquake. If it's not a religious school, why the fuck has it got an allocated prayer room to cater for that one demographic in society? Fuck me, I'm getting animated. Joe Rogan, give me a call. So that's a PCSO, a police... Oh, fuck. That's a... fuck's sake. So that's a PCSO, a police community support officer. Often they're people who volunteer to do... Well, they're not even police duties, not even special constables. They have no actual power. But it's a way to get into the police service. Fuck it! A Muslim police officer attempting to arrest a Christian preacher in a Christian country. In my opinion, I'll shut up or I'll get my door kicked in by the stormtroopers.